And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Soul Survivor podcast. I'm Dylan Bird, here along with my co-hosts, Ryan Winthrop and Jordan Heffler. And we are live for the first time in 2 weeks. I'm happy to be here, guys.
Happy to be live. Like I always say, one of my favorite parts is to interact with the audience. So third draft, third time's the charm. Let's do this.
Good morning, guys.
Yeah, we got our third casting draft. So, that we're doing in this off season. And how fitting is it that our third casting draft is third time's a charm? I'm looking forward to it. I think it's the perfect way to have the third casting draft. Can't do any other way.
Yeah, no, I think when you think of casting drafts, people always want to see second chance to heroes versus villains to, and then I think you hear some fan created seasons like this third time's a charm because there's a lot of people we want to see have another chance. Maybe their third and final chance to get the million. Yeah,
for sure. And like normal, I'm going to start by going over the rules and guidelines of this particular theme. And I'm going to preface it by saying that so we always say we want to make the most realistic cast, something that actually could happen if this season were to happen. And yeah, I think there's a very limited amount of people that could fit our criteria here. So, there's only so much realistic. We can only go so far in terms of realism here. But I do think a lot of these players that we're going to select are players that could definitely play again at some point. Third time's a charm is the type of season that I don't think we'll actually ever see, but I think it's very fun to fantasize about. And I think that a lot of these players will be back, like I had said before. So I'm going to start by going over the rules. So the first rule that we have is that obviously it has to be their third time playing. Has to be a player that's played twice, is coming back for a third time. The next one cannot be a winner. They cannot have won their season, just like Second Chance, where it was basically all people coming back for a second time and none of them had won. So it's basically the same rules as Second Chance, except for a third chance, third time's a charm here. And the second thing is people who are on Second Chance are allowed to be back for third time's a charm. There's only a limited amount of people that fit our guidelines here. And have played twice without winning. So we're going to have it so that people from Second Chance are definitely allowed. And the order for tonight, as the rigged randomizer will say, goes me, then Hef, and then Ryan. We're not going to do a snake draft for this one tonight. We're doing 3 tribes, 6 people each, 3 men, 3 women. And then at the end, we'll go with our honorable mentions as normal. Ready to get started.
Ready to get started. And thanks, Alyssa, in the chat. Thanks for joining us.
All right. So I do have the first pick here. Very big anticipated pick here. So there's many ways I could go. Many players who I think deserve a third chance and deserve to be on this season. But I got to go with this is the F, this is the Y, and I'm everything in between. Jonny Fairplay is my first pick. Fairplay, definitely one of the best players, never to win. Played an outstanding game in Pearl Islands, probably a top 5 to 7 season of all time in Survivor. I'm trying to scroll and find. All right, here we go. Probably top 5 to 7 season, if not higher, all time. Pearl Islands. He comes in third place. Easily could have won had he not lost the last immunity challenge. Played pretty much a new school game in season 7, which is so crazy. Came back for Micronesia and quit the game, basically, or told people to vote him out first because he missed his daughter. I've been waiting to see Jonny Fairplay get a third chance, and this is the perfect season to have him back.
F, what do you think about Fairplay?
I mean, I love characters, so Fairplay is up there with one of my favorite characters I've ever seen. I model my game after him because when I'm on Survivor, I'm going to make a huge lie like him that'll make everybody empathize with me. So Fairplay, I love that move. I know you get a lot of hate for it, but Fairplay is one of my underrated favorite players.
Hef, if you would like, I give you permission. If you go on Survivor, you could say, how's my podcast host, Ryan? Dude, he died, man. I give you permission. But no, obviously I love Jonny Fairplay. If you guys didn't take him, I was going to. And I have a feeling we'll probably see him at least one more time on one of our ballots, whether it's a potential rivals or a potential legends or whatnot. We'll definitely see Fairplay again, either on our ballot or the show. But yeah, when you make up the dead grandma lie that makes national headlines, you're in the history books of Survivor. Obviously, he's also known for blindsiding Rupert, but an underrated move that I want to bring up that people might not remember from Pearl Islands is in the pre-merge. They have a gross food eating challenge where they kind of like put everything into a smoothie and kind of like mesh it up and people have to drink it. And
I know what you're going to say.
And on the Drake tribe, they find out that Michelle, I don't remember her last name, Michelle, she is actually really good with gross food. So Fairplay comes up with the scheme to say, when you get your drink, pretend that you hate it. So when we have to do a tiebreaker round, they'll pick you and then you scarf it down and we'll win hands down. And then Michelle messes up the plan and then they vote her out. But even the little things before the grandma lie, Fairplay was making the moves. So love to see Fairplay on this ballot.
Do you guys know what? I believe this is a big word. Let me see if I'm pronouncing it right. An anachronism, I believe. It's a object that is in a different, like out of its time. That's Fairplay, like in human form, honestly, because he's a season anywhere 20 to 40 new school type player that played in season 7. It was so amazing to see him play. I would absolutely, love to see it. And before we move on, I just want to remind everyone that comment about our picks, whether it's, in the YouTube comments and the live comments, comment what you think of our picks, who you think should be selected, and we'll be reading them. So on to you, Ryan. Or no, Hef rather.
I'm last.
So guys, in my opinion, there were only 2 locks to play for a third time if there was a third chance season. One of them is Jonny Fairplay, and one of them is one of my boys. No, it's not Tyson. It's not Tony. His name is Spencer Bledsoe. The second smartest player to ever play Survivor behind Yul Kwan. I mean, I just go coconuts over this guy. He is so smart. He's made it to the Final 4 both times he's played. He didn't get too far because he made some pretty sour relationships, but this guy's strategy is unparalleled. He plays from the bottom every single time. Somehow it makes it so far in the game because he's so smart, and he is who I would model my game off of. I know I mentioned Fairplay. I'd make a big lie like him, but I'm not really a person-to-person guy. I'm more of a strategy guy, and Spencer Bledsoe has to be there. As
Tony calls him, the young lad. Back on this season, and we had him on the Heroes Tribe, but if we're gonna do, that's the last casting draft. If we're gonna do a third times a charm season, Spencer's got to be on the list, and there's no doubt about that. All right, on to you, Ryan.
All right, on to me. Coming to you live from the Amazon, it's Rob Cesternino. If anybody has not watched Survivor Amazon, you must go back and watch it immediately. Do your old school homework, get your notebooks out, let's go. If we are talking about people who changed the game, before Immunity Idols, before Russell Hantz, before advantages, Rob Cesternino was not only changing the way the game was played, but the way confessionals were done. He knew this was a TV show, and he had sound bites for days. I could go on and on, but one very big example is he votes out Butch at the Final 4, who is infamous for collecting a lot of firewood, holds up his vote and says, I don't think all the firewood in the jungle will keep your torch lit tonight, buddy. Basically, Rob Cesternino is incredible. We all are big fans of Rob as a podcast, but essentially Rob invented some of the strategies you see today. He invents picking up stray votes like Dina and like Matthew, and he pulls them to his side and he has the numbers, and then he turns on them when he realizes they don't have as much use to me or the tribe kind of wants them gone. He also makes a big flip at the Final 7. It kind of invents voting out the swing vote in Christy at the Final 6. Christy's like, do I go with the guys? Do I go with the girls? Rob actually approaches her before Tribal and says, do you know what voting? And she's like, I'll make my mind up when I get there. I'll maybe see what happens, flip a coin. And Rob's like, you know what? Let's all vote her out. Vote out the flip vote. If he gets to the end of Amazon, he wins. And that's why he's the 4th person voted out of All-Stars, because Boston Rob saw him as a big threat. So I don't know if Rob would ever come back to the podcast, but I want to see Rob Cesternino play in the modern era because I think he is one of the best to never win.
Yeah, completely agree. And like you said, he was so good in season 6 that he, Rob and Amba voted him out at right away in All-Stars. So I'd love to see him back. I think also just listening to him over the years on Rob Has a Podcast, it'd be so interesting to just see him back after he's had all these opinions. We've heard all of his opinions on every single season for years. it'd be so great to see him back out there. And I think, it is possible. I think we'll have to see. Hopefully he would walk away from the podcast for one season to be on it. So we'll have to see what happens.
There's always rumbling. There's always rumblings that, they'll bring him back. He wants to come back. I can see it going either way, but I want to see him back.
I believe, I could be wrong. I believe he was and somebody in the comments could correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he was asked back for Game Changers. I could be wrong. And he's definitely been asked back. That's for sure. So we'll have to see if he decides to accept one of these days.
Rob, we will guest host your podcast the season that you run.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to hand over the keys to us, we'll hop on with Fishback for sure.
No one else.
Anyway, so no snake draft tonight, so it is my pick again. I have an interesting pick here. I'm gonna have to go very, very old school on this one, and I'm gonna go with Jenna Lewis as my second selection. Let's get to her here. So Jenna Lewis, one of the original Survivor players on season 1, comes back for All Stars in season 8 and goes all the way to the final 3 with Rob and Amber, and unfortunately couldn't overcome the bond between Rob and Amber, to get to that final 2, where I think she easily would have had a chance to beat Rob based on how many people on the jury were bitter about him. She came in 8th place season 1, just one of those old school players that you'd love to see back. And, I hope it happens. And she's only played twice. And it'd be one of those, I love seeing like in Winners at War. I love when players like Amber and Ethan, you haven't seen them since All Stars. It's been 16 years since they've played Survivor. And now you're seeing them back. That's what it would be like with Jenna Lewis. So that is my pick. And I think she deserves a third chance.
Dylan, I was going to say the same thing. Sorry, Ryan. I like when players you haven't seen in a really long time are thrown into the new school Survivor, just like you said. So love the pick right there.
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback on and say that this is one of the reasons why we all like to see Jervis back in Blood versus Water, because that was the first time we really saw somebody from season 1 come back after all those years, because this predated Kelly Wigglesworth coming back on Second Chance. But everybody wanted to see Jervis back after 26 seasons. And he's like, look, I was the guy who couldn't eat the worm or the grub, and I'm back now. I'm here with my niece, and he was obviously a big personality on the show. So I'm always down for these old school players coming back into the modern era, always.
Yeah, for sure. And we will move on. Now Hef has another pick.
I mean, Ryan, now that you bring up Jervis in Blood versus Water, why not bring Laura Moret back into the game, huh? Laura Moret, bona fide challenge beast. This girl knows how to bring home the bacon. She was a stud in every single challenge, and that's why she got voted out early. Now she's more famous for getting voted out by her own daughter, but Laura Moret was a powerhouse in season 19, an absolute beast on Redemption Island in Blood versus Water, and then when she came back into the game as well, I would love to see her get a third chance. Yeah,
for sure. And you remember when we were on with Russell making the bracket, and Russell's like, when I was on Samoa, I knew Laura was a huge threat. I had to get her out. Like, she's extremely good. So yeah, she was good enough in season 19 for Russell to see her as a threat early merge. Then come season 27, where she's winning every single immunity challenge, gets sent to Redemption Island, comes back, immunities again. And look, I'd love to see her back as well.
Yeah, no, you guys summed it up perfectly. Laura Moret is great.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, on to Ryan's pick.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to go with somebody who a lot of people say is one of the queens of confessionals and is a very popular player, Courtney Yates from China. Courtney, basically, everybody, when you think of Courtney, you think of her confessionals. Basically, John Robert, I'm voting for you because when you snore, somebody's choking a walrus. Denise, no one wants to take her to the end because she kind of sucks at life. Todd is definitely faking about his sister. That is not the Jonny Fairplay. My grandma died. So Courtney is such an amazing character on the show, and that's why she was back for Heroes vs. Villains the first time, and she was a great villainess. If we ever go into, one of our podcast ideas about, rewriting history or going over different parts of Survivor history, it'd be very interesting to see what happens in the merge of Heroes versus Villains if Russell and his crew decide to vote out Sandra instead of Courtney, because they make a big decision there to bring Sandra to the merge, and we all know Sandra wins. I kind of want to see what happens if Courtney gets to the merge. Does she link back up with Amanda? Does Courtney go way under the radar and is a threat to win? Either way, Courtney is hysterical, and I think a lot of people would want to see her back.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if you read, I'm not sure if you saw Dalton Ross's article that he released yesterday, but also the lead singer of the rock band at Ponderosa that was created by Coach. So,
the Dragons.
Obviously, Courtney, great with confessionals, great personality, would just be a great character to have back for third time's a charm. All right, so for my third selection of the night, I'm gonna roll with another old school player. Somebody who played in seasons 9 and 16. I'm going with Eliza. So yeah, I think a lot of people want to see Eliza back. She's actually interesting fact. She's currently running for Manhattan District Attorney, which is pretty cool. But in terms of her Survivor gameplay, obviously comes in 4th in season 9, known for going against the Black Widow Brigade in season 16 in Micronesia. And of course, she's part of one of the most memorable moments in Survivor Micronesia where it's either her, Jason going home, Jason wins immunity, and Jason is willing to give her his idol, which turns out to be, quote from her, an effing stick. So, something that, one of those moments that when Adam tried to grab the idol off the podium in this season, Winners of War, all I could think about was Eliza, where just she had the stick and then she tried to play the stick and the stick gets thrown into the fire. And that's how she goes home, in Micronesia. But I'd love to see her get a third chance for sure.
I was considering Eliza. I obviously both a great character and a pretty good player. The only reason I didn't have her on my draft board was because she is running for Manhattan DA. So again, I know these kind of like our hopes and dreams for the ballots, but I also try to have some sense of, realism to them. I mean, obviously, if it's Legends, then we can go with our pipe dreams. But if Eliza's running for Manhattan DA, if Penner's taking care of his wife, and we're not going to really see them again, I didn't want to put them on the board. But I think it's a great pick, though.
Yeah, you never know what could happen 10 years down the road. So might as well throw her in the cast.
Go for it.
All right, Hef, you are up again.
Let's keep Micronesia going with a pretty famous player. You might know him from his infamously stupid move. I am talking about Eric, the ice cream, a scooper. So, yeah, Eric was pretty good at Micronesia. He will always be known for giving up immunity and getting voted out in that same tribal council. Don't know what he was doing. That move will always drive me bongos. And I mean, yeah, when I want a third chance season, I want entertainment. Eric was good entertainment throughout the season, and I want to see him try to redeem himself in a third chance season. What do you guys think?
And you can't forget in season 26, he ultimately gets pulled at, I believe, Final 5 for medical reasons. So somebody who many people think could have won the season had he remained in the game, considering he was maybe more of a challenge threat than, I mean, maybe not that season, but like maybe he beats Cochran in an immunity challenge. Cochran ends up going home, and then who's going to be the one to win? It could have really been Eric if he had stayed in the game. So look, I think Eric is an entertaining player. He's notoriously known for the dumbest move in Survivor history, and unfortunately did get medevac that second time. So I think he also deserves a third chance. It's a good pick, Hef.
The only question I have is, does he get in the same place 3 times in a row? I don't know if he would get 5th place 3 times in a row, but I mean, obviously Eric is a well-known player in Survivor history, maybe not for the best reasons, but I mean, I guess I could see maybe could he change his game up for a 3rd time? Will he place 5th again? It could be interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Ryan, your turn.
My turn. Give me Terry Dietz, Dylan.
For sure.
I need Terry Dietz. Basically, somebody who got a second chance, but for the right reasons, had to leave the game due to a family emergency. This guy definitely deserves a 3rd chance at the game. One of the very few members, as we all know, Hef is a big challenge buff and likes his challenge beasts. is one of the members of the esteemed 5 immunity wins club for the men, joining the ranks of, Mike Holloway and Kobe Donaldson and Brad Culpepper. Although obviously he played before most of them, so he's one of the first ones to do it. Terry was a challenge beast. If he gets to the end of Panama, he wins hands down. The jury basically said, I kind of wish, Shane even said verbatim, we kind of all wish Terry was sitting there instead of you two, to Aris and Danielle. So Terry is amazing. Obviously, he's also known for having a big clash with Aris and kind of like a pseudo father and son type of relationship. But Terry is great. I think he came back in second chance and tried to play an old school game, and I don't think it worked. I know he had to leave for family reasons, but it was kind of hinted at in the edit that with Wentworth and Terry at the bottom of Takeo at the Swap Tribe, it sounded like, she was kind of throwing Terry under the bus to the rest of the old Bion members. And I feel like if Terry didn't get medevaced and they lost immunity, not medevaced, if he didn't leave for the family emergency and they lost immunity, he probably would have went home. So I feel like now he deserves a third chance, and I kind of want to see if he's learned and will change it up for a third time.
Look, if Terry Dietz wants to come back to Survivor, I think he will get his third chance. So I think that this would be the perfect season to have on. Would not be surprised if he comes back eventually. So good pick, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right. So for my fourth pick, so we're at the halfway point of the draft.
It's going fast. We're halfway done already.
When there's not that much controversy over picks, when people aren't picking Brandon Hance, when people aren't, when there's not a wide range of scenarios. Look, we're moving. The draft is moving tonight. But anyway, my next pick is going to be Ty. So Ty, obviously, very recent, my first new school player, played in seasons 32, 34, is, I believe, in second place for most idols found in one season. He found 3 in Game Changers, I believe. He found 1 in Ko-Rong. He's the idol magnet, as Hef likes to call him. I think that Ty is a great TV character. I think that if he did not do so bad at Final Tribal Council and maybe had a little bit better relationships, I think he would have had a little bit more of a shot in Ko-Rong. I think he played a pretty solid game despite, what ended up happening. Same thing with Game Changers is Brad Culpepper was hell-bent on getting Ty out. Everyone wanted to get Ty out because he was seen as such a threat. So I think he could easily come back, and I would not be surprised if he does. So Ty.
I love Ty. Love.
I have a hot take here. I'm not too big on Ty for a third chance. I don't know. I feel like I kind of got everything that I wanted to out of Ty in 2 runs. Basically, he's a player that will always get to the end because he's good at challenges. He's well liked. But I just feel like he doesn't have the chops needed to get to the end and win. I mean, you could say, yeah, he's well liked, but he got to the end of Ko-Rong and got swept out to Michelle and Aubrey. And I think we saw in Game Changers, kind of like Ben and Winners at War, when Rob asked Ben, who's voting for me? And Ben was like, humana. The same thing happened to, Ty and Sari, when Sari says, hey, Ty, is Ozzy have any beef with me from Micronesia? Like, are we good? And then Ty's like, I don't know. I have a feeling you guys are okay. And he completely just looked like the cat that swallowed the canary. I feel like Ty is a great guy, and I think the fans love Ty in the new school era, but I don't know. For me, I'm not too bullish on a third chance for Ty Trang.
He's an idol magnet. Come on. That's all you need. I love idol magnets.
I think, look, if Ty gets in the season, it's because he's the idol magnet. I'm not, I agree with you that there are major flaws in his game, but I think he's pretty well liked, and I think that he could possibly get that third chance.
Speaking of idol magnets, I'm going to draft Ben. No, I'm not actually. I don't want to draft him.
He's a former winner. He's ineligible.
Oh, that is true. I forgot that rule. I don't want him anyway. I'll tell you who I do want. This guy is an idol magnet. This guy is a challenge beast. This guy plays a strong strategic game. He's the full package. He's actually none of those things. I'm talking about Captain Underpants, the federal agent himself, Phillip Shepard. Give him to me. The most entertaining player I've ever seen in my life, and I'm going to end it right there. No further reasoning why Phillip needs to be on this season.
So one thing that we do always talk about is how you don't, when you're building a cast, you don't want a game where everyone's gonna be so strategic. You want the character. You want at least one or two great characters. And I'll never forget season 26, the finale. Rob goes up to give his rule book that was basically inspired by Phillip. His rule book, Boston Rob's rule book, to Phillip on stage, and is like, "You're one of the best characters I've ever seen on the show." And I just think Phillip being thrown on any season is instant entertainment. It's a reason for people to watch. And I do have a hot take about Phillip that I want to share. I think that his game in Caramoan was very, very solid and may have been
underrated.
Yeah, very underrated. He pretty much strung together a whole alliance, and whether you want to clown it for the ridiculous names, you could, but that was a legit alliance, and they were running things for a while, and he did end up leaving by a double idol play, I believe, from Reynolds and Malcolm. So, look, if Phillip were to be on a third chance, I don't think anybody would be complaining. This guy's instant entertainment.
Bird, while I agree with you that he played a pretty strong and underrated game, I can't stop laughing when you talk about him. I love this guy.
Yeah, I do also. All right, Ryan's pick now.
Yeah, I didn't have any more comments about Phillip at all.
Wait, time out. I didn't coin the nickname Captain Underpants, did I?
No. I severely doubt after season 22, you're the only person to ever call Phillip's pink sound.
You don't know for sure?
What?
But you don't know for sure.
You can go on the Reddit and look it up. I mean, I don't know.
All right, I will take credit for it then. Unless it's proven otherwise, I will take credit for calling Phillip Shepherd Captain Underpants.
Go for it.
You should buy his book, The Costa Rica Job.
He has a book?
Yes, he has a book. He's an author.
I am absolutely going to buy that book.
All right, Ryan, go for it.
Okay. Oh, this is so hard because now we're down to 6. I only have 6 people in total, 3 people left, and I'm trying to pick an even number of men and women, so I only have a few spots left. This is hard. There's 2 guys I have on my list left to take, and I just hope that Dylan takes one of them because I want them both on this cast. But I got to pick a female next. Okay, this might be a hot take. I don't know. But this is a woman who played a long time ago. She came back for a second chance, and I think she should have been on Game Changers instead of Haley and Sierra. Give me Kimmy Kappenberg.
Wow.
And here is why. First of all, Kimmy Kappenberg, I would say if you look at people's records, maybe other than Wentworth, and obviously Jeremy because Jeremy won. Other than Wentworth, I would say the most improved award goes to Kimmy Kappenberg. Also, like Wentworth, by the way, she places in 5th voted out or 6th voted out in her first season like Wentworth, and they have pretty similar trajectories. Kimmy basically took her second chance and ran with it, pulling off a 3-2-1. Look, I'm a big 3 Fields fan. If you pull off a 3-2-1, you're automatically getting 10 points in my book. Pulls off a 3-2-1 to blindside Monica at the pre-merge, something we've never really seen before done. Because she's like, you know what? I want to roll with Bion Strong and the guys. She wants to pull in Wigglesworth and the girls. I don't like that. No pumpkin, no. I'm taking her out. She then basically almost takes out Jeremy at the final 6 if it wasn't for his idol. And honestly, I'm not going to lie. If she knows Jeremy has an idol, she might pull off a 3-2-1 against Tasha there, and Tasha goes home. And a lot of the jury members said, Jeremy was our top choice. We love Wentworth. But if Kimmy was there with Spencer, Tasha, or Keith, the jury said Kimmy Kappenberg wins second chance. The jury, because listen, you have to take into account a lot of people on the second chance jury are parents. Cass, Savage, Wigglesworth, Sierra, their parents. That's why they voted for Jeremy. They want a parent to win the game. There's a connection. Tef, you just said yourself, you're a strategic player. You don't focus on the social. There's a lot of human element there with being a parent. And I think and obviously, look, I thought Jeremy should have won second chance, and he did. Wentworth was my second favorite choice. But the jury said if those two weren't there and it was like Tasha or Keith there, Kimmy Kappenberg could have won the season because she definitely exemplified what a second chance is. And you know what? For her 3-2-1 moves and how hard she played, I would have rather have seen her than Haley or Sierra. Maybe that's a hot take.
Hef hyperventilating at the thought of Spencer losing to Kimmy.
Yeah, seriously. All right, PSA to everyone that wants to be on Survivor, Don't work out so you're in great physical shape. Don't train your brain to play a strong strategic game. Just have a kid, and that will be the trick to winning. All you need is to be a parent, apparently.
Are you saying Kimmy
you'll win the season?
Are you saying she wasn't strategic?
Was she more strategic than Spencer Bledsoe? Get out of here. Are you kidding me?
She was more well-liked. Spencer,
So
are you kidding me?
Hef. I have a third-party, non-biased statement here. I would say that, yes, I think Spencer would have won, and I think he could have won, but I do think that his social game may have turned off some people. We saw that. I don't think Wentworth ever votes for Spencer if he's there. I really don't. You saw how angry she was at him when he pulled that move at Final Four, I guess. So I think that while I think that Spencer probably would have won, I don't think it's far-fetched to think that Kimmy would have got some votes at all.
She should not have won. And I'm glad that
I agree with you. I'm just
glad that scenario has never played out, and I'm gonna have nightmares about it later tonight.
Listen, I didn't say she should have won second chance. I said that Wentworth and Jeremy were the most deserving too, but if they weren't there, and yes, maybe Spencer did a good job, but she would have. If let's just say hypothetically, it's her, Tasha, and Keith. She smokes Tasha and Keith. I think Kimmy played better than Tasha and Keith, honestly, for a second chance.
Yeah, saying that she played better than Keith is like not that big of a compliment.
Well, she played better than Tasha.
I'll give her that. Yeah, I will say that.
Yeah. Wow. We had our first controversy tonight. It's good to be back. We're back. 2 weeks since we've gone live, and we got a heated argument. I mean, you love to see it. So if we are done arguing this, then I'm going to go on and make my fifth selection.
Before you do that, now that I'm looking at who you just picked, Ty, I want to talk about Ty's first season. Why was Ty on the Beauty Tribe? No offense to you. Why are you on the Beauty Tribe?
Because he wasn't Braun and he wasn't Brain. I don't know. That's just the way they did it. I don't know.
He's pretty good looking, but I wouldn't say he's on the Beauty Tribe.
Because he sees the beauty in animals and nature. He understands the beauty of the world. He says himself, he's like, I don't know why I'm here with these guys, but like I see beauty in the world, so maybe that's why I'm here.
I love it.
All right. Next pick. I'm going to go with another old school player. I know this is the first draft we're really getting some good old school people in, which I love to see. I'm going to take Danielle from season 12 and season 20. Yeah, season 12, she comes in second place next to Aris, and then comes back and was a pretty good villain in here in season 20, Heroes versus Villains, but kind of gets, I think her entire personality and her way as a villain, I think slightly gets overshadowed by the fact that she's on the same that she's on the best tribe pretty much of all time with and in the alliance with Russell and Parvati, let alone. So, I think that there were some very underrated moments with Danielle in Heroes Villains. One of them is where she's wrestling Amanda for the clue in the reward. I don't know if you guys remember that. But anyway, I think another reason why I'm picking Danielle here is because, I don't know if you guys know this, but she was rumored to come back with Coach for season 38, Edge of Extinction. And her and Coach ended up declining, or something happened with it. So I don't think Survivor has forgot about Danielle. I think that, she's still young if she wants to come back. And I think that she's somebody that could easily is deserving of a third chance. I like to see, let's just say I'd like to see what happens when maybe she's more on her own and not with Russell and Parvati, let's say.
I agree.
I like SP fan's comments in the chat that Colby just wanted to watch Treasure Island. God, after this podcast, I might go back and watch the Treasure Island scene.
That's a great comment. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're fighting over the clue and the popcorn, and then Danielle's like, Colby, did you see Amanda just tackled me? And he's like, I just wanted to watch Treasure Island. I don't know.
That's really funny. They should have, that was such a stereotypical like old school reward. They should have more of those. I don't really know. They don't even show rewards anymore, but you get some entertaining scenes out of rewards.
Yeah.
All right. Hef, your pick.
So you guys know who I love. You know the type of player I love. We know that I love Brad Culpepper, and we know that I love Challenge Beasts. Combine the two, and you get a Monica Culpepper. I love Monica Culpepper. in my opinion, she is the most dominant woman in individual immunities I've ever seen. Probably
better than Laura Moret.
I think that she was better than Laura Moret. I don't know why, but I thought that she was more commanding in those challenges. They were much harder, and I think she had harder competition.
Well, she won. What did she win? Sorry to interrupt you. What did she won the eating competition? What else did she win? Others? She won 2 or 3 more, right? Maybe.
Yeah, Ryan. How many did she win? She definitely won more than one.
Monica Culpepper won 3 in the individual immunities in Blood versus Water.
All right, go on.
I love Monica Culpepper, and I don't know why she got so much hate at the end because people were attacking her and railing on her because she wasn't like open that much. This is like one of the nicest people I've ever seen on TV. She was so sweet the entire season, and everybody is like destroying her like she's this evil person just because she might have been on the shyer side or because she didn't open up to everybody and it wasn't all kumbaya with her. You guys know what I'm saying? She's like the nicest person ever.
Yeah. I think maybe like I honestly felt bad for her. I think maybe people thought she was like almost like too nice to the point where they thought she was being fake. Is that possible?
I don't like that. She's a nice person. She's a nice lady.
God, Megan stole my comment in the chat. Megan and SP fan, let's do it for Monica.
Do it for Monica.
For Monica. And then SP fan says, have you all never met a neat lady? Monica's great. And Brad, if you want to keep gushing over the Culpeppers, I have some more news for you. Monica and Brad not only are both second place finishers, so they both made it to day 39. However, they both also placed on day 15, voted out in their first season. So husband and wife voted out day 15 on their first seasons, and then their second seasons, they well, actually, technically, I think Brad was voted out before day 15, but then you factor in Redemption Island, etc. But day 15, their first time, day 39, the second time, they are a match made.
That is by far the best Survivor couple.
Rob and Amber overrated.
I was like thinking to myself for a second. I was like, oh God. Anyway, I also want to give them a shout out because their son plays for Penn State football.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out Judge.
All right. Ryan, your pick.
Okay. I'll tell you the last 2 guys. I've done pretty well. Most of my big board is gone. I have 2 guys left and 2 females left. So I'm hoping Dylan or Hef takes the last guy. Well, actually, Hef used up all his 3 guys. Dylan, I'm considering either Stephen Fishback or Yau-Man Chan.
All right. Well, both are on my big board. I was probably not going to take Yau-Man. So if I were advising you on who you want to go off the board,
well,
like,
listen,
you want him to definitely be taken. So I would take him here.
Yes, I would like a fishy. So if you can tell me that you'll take Fishback, then I will take Yau-Man.
All right. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Yau-Man basically is like a Rupert, where in the old school era, one of the most popular players, ever. When he walks out in Fans versus Favorites, I mean, Hef, do you remember? I'm just asking you, do you remember back in Micronesia, popular season, they're introducing them one by one, right? It's the favorites to the fans. Yau-Man walks out. I mean, obviously he's popular, but Yau-Man walked out. The fan. What's up?
They loved Yau-Man.
The fans went insane because Yau-Man
realistic for Yau-Man.
But Yau-Man is so well liked. He not only found idols in Fiji, and Fiji's not a very popular season, I get that, but one of the best parts of Fiji is Yau-Man Chan. He found immunity idols. He made a fake one, although wasn't that great. He put I on a coconut called Immunity Idol. Wasn't that great of a fake. But idols were new. You didn't know what they looked like. They were new. And the only reason he doesn't do well in Micronesia is because Suri Field, the great Suri Field, says Yau-Man's a threat. He is going to get an idol and take us all out. I like Adam's comment in the chat. His dreams were crushed. Basically referencing what I was about to say, where one of the biggest moves in history, it's in the history books, where Yao gives up the car to Dreams. And basically he says, look, if you're in the Final Four together and you win immunity, you give it to me. And then Dreams goes back on his word. Yau-Man doesn't win, gets placed 4th. If Yao gets to the end, Yao wins. And honestly, I didn't think it was that bad of a move, honestly. I mean, Jeff even said, Yao, you're basically saying to him, you both have to be there in the end for this deal to work, and he has to win immunity. So if any other amalgamation happens, this deal is null and void. And he's like, yeah, I know, but I'll still make the deal. It happens, and then Dreams takes him out. So I think Yao is a really good strategic player. I feel like he's kind of out of the scene. I don't think we'll ever see Yao again, but I love Yau-Man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, especially because the fans were so excited to see him. It's unfortunate he did go out so early in Micronesia. But yeah, good to have him on this cast. And now I'll explain my pick. We obviously, me and Ryan had a deal, so I'm going to take Stephen Fishback, who is on, one of the next on my list. Stephen Fishback comes in second to JT in Token Teens. And then I believe he was 0 votes, right?
Against JT?
Yeah.
Yeah, gets shut out 7-0.
Right. Yeah, he gets shut out against JT, but gets there, and then played a pretty solid game in second chance, and ends up being a victim of Spencer having a very good move. But yeah, Fishback, obviously he's a know-it-all. I think it's pretty funny that we have Rob as a podcast. We have both Rob and Steven both on the season. Steven's one of the most he's one of the most knowledgeable Survivor players ever. He knows the game like the back of his hand. So anytime you have, and he's, the way he talks is so, for confessionals, is great, because you could tell he runs scenarios through his head like nonstop. It's pretty crazy. But you want me to tell you who I was also considering for this pick? And if I had taken this guy over Fishback, I think you guys would have been, you guys probably would have been annoyed with me, but I probably would not have done it, because I told you before we go in, I said, we need to have some characters on this cast, but since Phillip is on this cast, I would be more apt to do a strategic player here rather than Keith Nell, who I was going to possibly put on this cast. And the reason why I was potentially thinking about putting Keith on this cast is because, one, while he's not the most strategic guy ever, pretty good physical player, pretty solid in immunity challenges, and he's so, I don't think I realized how like beloved Keith is. Like, I actually saw recently a rerun of like the Worlds Apart finale where they have the second chance guys. They announce who's on second chance. They're about, they have the suitcases ready. They're literally wearing what they wore on the season. They're ready to go right out. And Keith, when Jeff was going down the row, he was like, you have a second chance. You have a second chance. He gets to Keith. Keith, before Jeff is even able to say anything, just faces the crowd and puts both of his hands up, and the crowd just goes crazy. And I just like, it gave me chills. I was like, everyone loves Keith so much. He's just like, great guy. So that's why I considered him for this cast. We'll consider him an honorable mention unless, you guys all have 3 guys already, so it's not like he'll be on one of your tribes, but we'll consider Keith an honorable mention.
Dylan, I'm a little disappointed. You stuck to our deal, but you did not stick to the plan by not taking Keith Nell. But no, I mean, I love Keith Nell. Who doesn't love Keith Nell? Yeah,
I mean, you got to have some character. Keith's a little bit older, so I don't know if he'd come back, but I love Keith. Is just so entertaining.
Survivor's not fun.
Yeah, it's not fun. He's like, I hate being out there. But Hef, your last pick.
My last pick is an entertainer. Loved watching her in each of her seasons. I thought she got cut short both times. Makayla Bradshaw, welcome to the Hef tribe. My final pick, I loved watching Makayla in both her seasons. I thought that Jay really screwed her over in Millennials versus Gen X, and she got screwed over by the person that I really don't like and that I don't think she should have won, Sarah Lucina. Another reason I have a grudge against Sarah Lucina, she took my girl Makayla out, but Makayla's really entertaining. I would love to see her play a third time. What do you guys think?
As I know, we've said this in the past, because she's been, I believe she was on our Heroes Villains tribe? She was on our cast for that, right?
Makayla? No, I think she was an honorable mention, I thought.
Okay, well, we definitely discussed her, and she was like, when she gets voted out so early in Millennials Gen X, that was such an infuriating episode, because I was ready to see her go like, look, I would have been fine if she had like made the merge and was like a Christian vote out, where she gets voted out like 7th, is like the most beloved, but she got cut so early. It was good to see her back Game Changer, and I believe she finished in 7th or 8th. So, yeah, did it 8th or 9th, 10th, somewhere around in that range. Ryan, do you have the exact number for me?
For what? Game Changers?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7th place. That's the tribal where Sari tries to take Sarah's vote, and Makayla still goes home.
Right. Right. So yeah, I would love to see Makayla back. I think I had her on my big board also. I just didn't get around to picking her. So great pick, Hef.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know we have to, Hef got bashed in the comments for his draft last casting draft, but I got to say you made up for it pretty well here.
All I gotta say about Makayla is one of my favorite confessionals ever is the basketball challenge or the water challenge in Millennials Gen X, and then her bathing suit top gets ripped off, and all she said is, "You know what? I wanted to win for my tribe, so y'all about to see some tatas today." So, love Makayla.
You know,
and honestly, SP fan in the chat brings up a good point though. It's like, if you have Makayla and Eliza on the same season, it's going to be a battle of, facial expressions. Also, Makayla, and this is kind of like underrated thing. Makayla is a game changer for what she did in Game Changers. She's the first person ever to bring props to Tribal Council. I've never seen before where JT gets blindsided and then she's just sipping her water like this. And then when Debbie gets voted out, she's eating her popcorn or she's eating her little coconut shavings or whatever it was. I've never seen anybody bring props to Tribal before and use them, but that was a game-changing move right there. So,
also, I don't know if you would consider this game-changing, but how can we forget that she was sitting on the bench in the reward in the challenge with a clue right under her, and she completely didn't see it, and then
that was very bad.
But yeah, so I guess you could call that game-changing, kind of, but not really, but like inadvertently.
Wait, is that the reward? Is that what Sarah got to vote her out? Who got that?
Was that when Sarah got the legacy challenge? Is that a legacy advantage?
So that was the challenge where that was the whole Suri balance beam challenge. And then Makayla didn't get picked, so she was on the bench.
Oh, no. Okay, right. So, Sarah got the legacy advantage from Sierra. But what was that advantage again? Was it a...
No, Sarah got the steal a vote advantage. The legacy she got from Sierra.
Right, she got the legacy from Sierra. Yeah.
So she got that advantage because Makayla missed it, and that's how Makayla got voted out?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I can't say Game Changers was the most memorable season ever. So memorable cast, not a memorable season. So
I remember one person on that cast extremely well. The guy who should have won.
Hef. Look, you know what we were talking about, that we one day may have to do a Survivor Hot Takes podcast because we have Hef here who just throws out ridiculous stuff every single time we podcast. So
I speak the truth. I speak the truth that the people demand.
But anyway, last pick of the whole draft before we go into honorable mentions. Ryan.
Hef, I have just one question for you. And if you answer this question correctly, I will vote for you. Will you vote for me if you take out your damn teeth? Give me Brenda from Nicaragua and Caramoan. Dawn, I want you to take out your teeth. I think Brenda would be really cool for a third chance. Basically, Brenda, as Marty Piombo once said, by the way, we never talk about Marty on the podcast. Marty is a very underrated strategic player. He calls her, when he votes for her, the Black Mamba, King Cobra, and the Black Widow all rolled up into one. She's a great strategic villain in Nicaragua. Comes back a little bit older in Caramoan and kind of goes very under the radar. She only has a few confessionals the whole season, but she's well-liked. She's playing a good social game, and she finds Dawn's teeth, and then she gives Dawn the family member, and then Dawn promptly votes her out, and then Brenda comes back and says, Dawn, take out your teeth. But no, I think Brenda, and now she has a kid because she actually was pregnant at the time of the Caramoan finale. So I feel like if Brenda wants to come back now that she's older and she's a mom, kind of like Parvati, but like her daughter is not 10 months old, her daughter is now a lot older, I feel like I want to see another Brenda run.
Yeah, Brenda flew completely under the radar in Caramoan. She got like no confessionals. Like I remember watching that season and being like what, like she's there, but she's not like on screen at all. And then, she kind of comes on strong at the very end. Like, I don't remember the exact place she gets voted out. What is it, like 6th or 7th, maybe? 6th, right. So she gets voted at 6th. And, right before she got voted out, like the couple episodes before, she got a decent amount of airtime. And I was like, oh, well, now, like, welcome. But yeah, she obviously one of the most memorable final tribal questions of all time. Pretty ridiculous, but like also grounds for being a villain in whatever season she goes on. So, yeah, I think it's a good pick, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, so now that we have finished the cast, so I got to say first, this is one of my favorite casts. I think we only done 3, but I think this is a really solid cast. I got to say,
I agree. I think this is a diverse cast, not just in demographic, but also in seasons. We have a lot of old school, we have a decent amount of no school, and maybe our least ever out of the 3 drafts, our least new school. But I think this is a really varied cast. This is a great one.
Yeah, I didn't want to, and people are commenting in the chat like Abby and stuff.
Abby.
I didn't want to overdo second chance because they were already on for second chance. So would they be on for third chance? Like maybe, but yeah, we have Terry who ended up getting medevaced. So, well, not medevaced, but he had to leave because of his son. So I'm fine with him being on it. And then Kimmy, Spencer, and Fishback are our only other ones from second chance. So we had 4 out of 18 from second chance. Not bad at all. Great mix of old school and new school. And I'm ready to talk about honorable mentions here. I'd already mentioned that I wanted to throw Keith in this somewhere. We had somebody comment Abby. I'll read to you some other players that were on my list that did not get taken. So Jervis, I know we spoke about him, but Jervis is so entertaining. Like no one would be complaining if he was back. This is an interesting one. I had Sue Hawk.
Ooh.
Good.
Obviously Sue Hawk goes out, quits the game in All-Stars, unfortunately, because of the whole incident with Richard. But she has one of the most famous jury speeches ever in season 1, where she talks about the snake eating the rat, comparing the snake to Richard and the rat to Wigglesworth. So, and obviously great character. Obviously she's a lot older now, but I think it would be pretty solid if we casted her. Then I had Tasha down. Somebody who goes very under the radar. I know she, many feel she didn't play a great game because in second chance, because she was like, you felt like Jeremy and Spencer were making most of the strategic moves based on the way it was edited, but really good at individual immunity challenges. Also was very good in Kagayan. So I'd be fine if Tasha was on this as well. Do you guys have any other names that you would like to share?
I have 5 names. Do you have any other names?
So I was passionate about Phillip being on this cast. However, if Phillip for some reason couldn't be on the cast, I wanted to really cast Francesca, his rival. I also considered putting David Wright in there.
Yeah, we had somebody comment, David SP fan 68 also just commented David. Yeah, I had David originally. I had David on my list, and I had cut him out. I would not complain if he was on there either. Very, very strategically sounds like a good player.
Yeah, no, I like both the David and the Francesca picks. The only reason I didn't put her on my team was because Phillip was here. I know she's the only player in history to ever get voted out first twice, but I really think a big variable there is because Phillip is on both of her tribes. I think if Phillip's not on her tribe or if Phillip's not on her season, I think she can go far. She obviously is really good physically and strategically. I know Dylan loves his physical challenge. You remember in the first challenge of Karamoan, she takes Matt and just slams him down.
Yeah.
In that water slaughter challenge. And I just think that she just got a raw deal both times with Phillip. So if we ever do a first boot draft or a pre-merge draft or whatever, I feel she's got to be on there. I think she could do well. As for the 4 that weren't taken from me, actually I only have 3 now that we mentioned Francesca, only 3 left. For the men, the only man I didn't have drafted, a couple people said it in the chat, was Lex Vandenberg from Africa and from All-Stars. I think Lex is a really interesting old school player who obviously is a bit strategic and villainous and betrayed a lot of allies in All-Stars, and then Boston Rob puts a knife in his back. It's part of Survivor history. Same actually for All-Stars. I had Kathy from Arcasis and All-Stars. Kathy also gets stabbed in the back by Rob, and she gives, I know we all love our jury speeches. I know Hef loves his big emotional jury speeches, and Kathy gives one of the most...
You were like a son to me.
What's up?
You were like a son to me, right? Didn't she say that to Rob?
Yeah, she was like, Rob, you were like a son to me, and you kind of used friends as like stepping stones, and I would have wanted like an ounce of respect. But you know what?
She voted for him.
She still votes for him. That's how you that is how you're a jury member. Either you vote for the person who played the best game. Well, you should always vote for the person who played the best game. But you either commend them or you get all your feelings out, but you still vote for them. Same thing with Kat in One World. She kind of like says, Kim, you broke my heart, but you know what? I'll give you my vote anyway. So Kathy's great. We all
should be. You got to respect the game. You're not on the island to make friends.
You have to understand there is a social, a physical, and strategical element. You cannot treat people like playing cards.
I think you should be able to.
No. We see it in
playing this game with a lot of adults, and by adults, I even include the 16-year-olds that Jeff says can be on the next season that he's casting.
But Hef, there's a way to play people like playing cards and also create the relationships needed to win the game. So I
don't think you should need to make people your best friends in order to win. If I'm on there, I want to be treated like a dog if that's what it takes for that person to make it to the end.
Hef, you say that. Listen, trust me, you say that in the moment. But if you are on a season with
the moment,
I mean, I'll say Spencer. But if you are on the show with like one of your idols or with one of your best allies, and they cut you at third place, and you are one day away from winning $1 million, I guarantee you that you'll be better.
Good for you.
You'll be better. I guarantee
it. You sold me.
No way. Anyway, really quickly, the last honorable mention I had was PG from China and Cambodia. I think the fans love PG, and I think being on a tribe with Abby kind of gave her a raw deal. So I would love to see more PG.
Yeah, I think that all your picks your honorable mentions are interesting. I would have never taken Lex. I'm not a Lex fan. I just think that he was like one of the biggest hypocrites I've ever seen he was in All Stars. The fact that he was the one going up to Ethan and going up to Jerry and was like, I'm going to like tonight. I have to vote you out. Like, I know we're friends outside the game, but like, this is a game and I need to vote you out. This is the first season where there was pre-existing relationships in the season. But then for the whole Rob thing to happen, and he basically does the same thing without letting him know that he's going to get voted out, or does he let him know? I don't remember, but just for him to attack Rob like he did for something that he had done to Ethan and Jerry, in a similar way, it didn't rub me the right way. Let's just say that. I thought it was very wrong. So I would not put Lex on a third time's a charm cast, but there were rumors that he was asked to be back for season 40 had they done like a champions versus contenders type season. So maybe he will be back one day.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I think you bring up some good points. Obviously, that's why he was one of my honorable mentions and wasn't on my cast. I mean, you brought up some great points with him and Rob's whole storyline, but I still think, if we want to see some old school players, Lex is a great villain to come back for sure.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk about a few things we have coming up. So we had been discussing casting drafts that we're going to do in the future. Somebody said in the chat to do Legends next. We will eventually do Legends, but it's not going to be the next one we do. The next one that we are going to do is drumroll. We haven't come up with an official title yet for it, but we are doing Best to Never Win Survivor casting draft next week, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. I want to make this 20 people and not 18, just so we get more people in, because it is Best to Never Win. It's some of the best players ever to play. So I'm excited for that. Anything else you guys want to say?
I saw a really interesting comment earlier in the chat, and I feel like it would be hard to do, but Adam Michael said in the chat, can we cast for a purple season? And that's a really interesting idea for a draft, but I feel like that'd be really hard to do. Do you guys know what he means by a purple season?
Is that like, I've definitely heard it before, but is that
what that means?
What's up?
No.
Purple buff?
No, purple's basically in the fan community. Whenever we say someone's getting like a purple edit, it means that you don't see them. So kind of like, do you guys remember Chelsea from Ghost Island? You never saw Chelsea like once on the show, like somebody that you never see on the show. So I feel like kind of like Brenda in Caramoan. Brenda got a purple edit. You never saw Brenda. I feel like that would be hard to draft, but I'd be so interested to think about like purple people that could be on the season.
We would have to like look up like least confessionals in each season to like draft. Yeah. That's actually interesting though. I actually like that idea a lot.
I'm pretty sure Brenda got one confessional in the premiere of Caramoan and then went like 6 episodes in a row or 7 without getting a single confessional until like the final like 9 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I would really, because obviously like the people who get purple edits, you don't really remember them unless they like are a finalist. But like, right, I would have to think about that and do a lot of research for that. But that's an interesting one. But
I also want to acknowledge Sam Cheatham's comment that my tribe is stacked for tribal immunity. We got a bunch of beasts on my tribe. They're all going to the merge, baby. They're not losing a single challenge.
We know Hef loves his physical play.
They're all going to the merge.
Hef loves the outplay third. But yeah, another thing. We actually just created an Instagram yesterday. So if you have Instagram, follow us at Soul Survivor Pod. Subscribe here to us on YouTube. Like this video. It helps us a lot. Be sure to comment also. And we will be back next week we'll come up with an official title for it, but best to never win.
Got nothing else for you.
Grab your torches, head back to camp. Good night.